let's start with, because I heard your question at the State Department, and I was wondering that very same thing myself, actually, and I wasn't privy to the information you have. So just to give a little background to people, Ryan's question had to do with the timing of the cutting of funding to UNRWA in relation to how soon that came down after the Court of Justice opinion. So would you please elaborate on the dates and the things that you had pointed out as to this just doesn't seem right?
Yeah, and I think that he made some news there. Some of what he said I think was not yet in the public domain and is interesting stuff. But right, so Friday morning is when the ICJ came out with its ruling, and we had known for a very long time, that the ruling was coming on the Friday. It was going to be Friday morning, very early actually, because it was at The Hague, so very early East Coast time here. And then within about an hour of The Hague ruling that there's a probable case here for genocide and that Israel needs to, stop and come back to court within a month to demonstrate how they have what steps they've taken to stop this genocide and to actually let humanitarian aid start flowing, the U.S. announces that they're going to pause all funding for UNRWA, the relief agency that works in Gaza. And so, what I asked about was the timing, and what I wanted to get from him was, when did the Israelis brief the U.S.? How did they make a decision so quickly? And so what he said is that they learned Wednesday from UNRWA directly that they had gotten this information from the Israelis, found some of it to be credible enough to terminate some of their staff and to suspend some others, and that they were going to do an investigation. And so then he said they took Thursday, spoke with Israel sometime Thursday, and then the UN made an announcement on Friday, which is an interesting point to add. It doesn't force the U.S. to either cut funding or to announce that they're cutting funding within an hour of the International Court of Justice issuing its ruling. Like, those are all still choices, but those are so he did confirm that they cut funding on the very day that Israel briefed them on these allegations.
Yeah, it sounded to me, though, that he was saying something along the lines of, oh, but this has been something that we've been discussing for a while. This isn't the only reason that that's happening. It sounded to me like he was trying to get out of there being any sort of link between the reason that they cut funding wasn't just because of that.
Sort of. I mean, in the past weeks, you've had Israel making a whole bunch of different attempts to undermine UNRWA. One was, that some of the employees celebrated October 7th. Another was that a lot of the fighters from October 7th had gone to UNRWA schools. I was actually at the briefing where a reporter, I think from Christian Broadcasting Network, tried that one on the State Department. And to their credit, they said, well, basically every kid in Gaza goes to an UNRWA school. So you've got to break down in logic there. Everybody there. So anything that happens is going to be done by people who went to those schools. So there were a bunch of efforts underway. It was this one that's saying that there were these 12 staff that was the one that finally landed. There had been a lot of public talk in the Knesset, both in the last couple of months, but also for years now, of Israel trying to get rid of this agency. Like, they really do not want this agency to continue to exist for a variety of different reasons. And now Sky News is reporting that it actually is 4 of the 12 actively participated, went into Israel, according to this Israeli intelligence dossier. And I guess the rest, some of them weren't even connected with UNRWA. Some were not connected with Hamas. The rest were said to have played some kind of logistical role, or got a text message to be somewhere, but it's not clear whether they were there or not. So the intelligence, as it was reported on last Friday, has kind of been reduced significantly over the intervening days, but the number of countries, suspending aid has only grown.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to me. Like, for me, I don't believe a word that Israel says. I'm referring to Israel as if it's a person speaking, just for point of reference. But like I always say, how you know Israel is lying is its lips are moving. So the problem is that I don't believe anything that they say ever. And they never allow independent investigation. So it makes it very, very, which obviously, why would they? But the fact that the United Nations actually validated some of the information, okay, so that validates why people should be fired. Okay, fine. So you fire some people, but I don't see how that connects to cutting off funding. And it's not just for Gaza; it's the West Bank too.
Right, and also Jordan, Syria, Lebanon. Like, yes, they operate
the refugee camps, all the refugee camps in the area.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But yes, if I think Norm Finkelstein had said, like, if, an American university was found to have some members of the janitorial staff, because it's not as if these were senior officials. Like, that would be one thing. These are, I think 7 were teachers, 1 was a custodian, very basically
regular people,
rank and file regular people who are employed doing, because also you have to understand, Hamas has, or had at the time, somewhere between 30,000 and 50,000, members of its militant wing, and then it had, has tens of thousands of others in the political wing. Very few of those are like, this is a guerrilla army. These are not necessarily full-time employees, so to speak, of a like Hamas standing army. So they're all going to have day jobs. And so, as Norm Finkelstein put it, like, if you found that an American university employed a janitor who would turn out to be a terrorist, you wouldn't like defund the university,
right? Unless
the university was like found to be like actively recruiting terrorists or something.
Yeah, no, we actually like universities to fund the genocide. In fact, the more they fund the genocide, the more we like those universities. So yeah, that's just a whole other problem.
That's a different side. Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.